What's up, everybody? Your boy Dust coming from Big Time Bullies. Just wanted to give y'all a little history on how Big Time Bullies got started. Originally, probably early 2000, I was always interested in pit bulls. I originally wanted to name the kennel Cadillac Kennels because that was my favorite car at the time. Had a lot of Cadillacs, so we were gonna name it Cadillac Kennels. So around 2002, I believe, is when I bought my first registered pit bull. Bought it from a friend of mine, named him Debo. He was the son of Lopez Fearless Buck and Collins Jadakiss. And so that was my first registered pit bull. I had him for a couple of years. Never really got to breed him. Before I could do any breedings with him, he ended up running away on 4th of July. As you guys might know, dogs do freak out on 4th of July. So I lost him on 4th of July, looked all over the place, could never find him. So unfortunately, I had to move on. So the second dog that I bought, his name was Diesel. And Diesel came from a friend of mine. Her name was Tracy Dickard. And at the time, she was the only person that I knew that was breeding blue pit bulls. And at that time, blue pit bulls were like the most popular dogs, or I thought so anyway. Everybody wanted a blue pit bull, so I ended up buying him. He was an ABDA dog. This is his registry right here. His dad was a Baby Boy Blue and his mom was Johnson Cinnamon. And when I went to go pick him out, we went to go check out the litter, me and a friend of mine, and I was really hyped up about getting a blue pit bull. But the friend that I took with me, he noticed something different in this other dog, and he was black and white. And it really wasn't what I was going for, but man, we picked him and he ended up being one of the best dogs. Matter of fact, probably the best dog I've ever owned. He ended up being about 120 pounds, big wide chest, huge head, and everything I expected from him. So right after that, I ended up buying 2 females, named one of them Dana. She was from Wilhelm's Comanche Chief. All these are local breeders, by the way, just in Las Cruces, New Mexico. And after that, I went and bought another female. Her name was Dubs, a red and white female from Woods Woodstock and Kehoe's Red Storm. So I ended up breeding Diesel to them. We had several litters. Puppies came out awesome, everything I expected. We bred them a couple of times. We had several different litters with just different dogs, different colors. Anything you could think of, from red to blue, black, white. So I had a variety of pit bulls for my customers. At that time, you could only really sell your pit bulls locally. Well, me personally, I was getting $500 a pup. And like I always tell people, back then it was really hard to market your dogs. The internet was around, but it really wasn't no social media. It was really hard to build a website, and it was just hard to market them. The only thing you could really do was put ads in the paper and maybe like the Thrifty Nickel or things like that. So it was really hard to market your dogs. So I did that for several years. Everything was looking good. At the same time, I became a father, so I was trying to manage being a father and also doing the breeding thing. When I actually moved from the first location I was living at, I moved to another place. And like I always say, you gotta make sure that you have the right containment for your dogs, because when I moved, I didn't have the right containment for them. So my dogs ended up getting loose. They ended up getting in a fight with the dog down the street. They found out that my dogs were at fault, and they put my dogs to sleep. And not only that, I actually got sued over that situation. So I ended up owing some people some money. It ended up being a legal issue. And so, like I said, you always gotta make sure your dogs are contained. So basically, when I lost my dogs that time, that was pretty much the end of Cadillac Kennels, which we called it at the time. And I was just heartbroken over the fact that I lost my dogs. So that was pretty much the end of that for me. I always still loved the dogs, and I always wanted to get back into it. And so, I knew one day I would. So fast forward to about 2018, the same friend of mine that I knew that was breeding, the same friend that sold me my first papered pit, he had jumped back in the game. He started breeding again as well. So every time I went to his house, I would see his bullies. And I would just think to myself, like, man, I really want to get another bully. Fast forward 2020, coronavirus hit. Everybody's at home. We're doing the quarantine thing. We was pretty bored. And so I decided to start looking for another bully. So I just started doing my research, found out the style of dog that I wanted, which I wanted to get an XL. So that's what I ended up buying. I found a guy in Texas. His name is Trevor. Shout out to him at HDA Kennels. So I hit him up. I seen some puppies he had for sale on his Instagram page. I was so excited about the dog that I ended up like messaging him like at midnight. And sure enough, he hit me back, let me know that the pup was still available. Over the next week, we negotiated the price, and shoot, like 4 to 6 weeks later, I was headed down to Texas to pick him up. It was actually a 20-hour drive, but Trevor hooked me up and he met us halfway. That's how we ended up with Sirius Jones. You know, I really like the look of the parents, so I ended up picking up Sirius. And around that same time, I was also looking for a female, so I had reached out to a guy, Pat Solano, up there in Rio Rancho, New Mexico, from Doghouse Kennels. He had a litter of puppies as well, so we ended up doing a deal with him, picking up Miss Hollywood. So far, we have these 2 bullies, so you know, we decided to start the new kennel, which is Big Time Bullies. To go along with it, we also started the YouTube channel and of course all our social medias. So so far, that's where we're at now, and I just want to thank everybody for, you know, showing us love, subscribing to the channel, continuing to watch our content, and stay tuned. We got a lot of great stuff coming up, a lot of interviews, a lot of dog shows we're going to continue to go to. We got a lot of content. We're all trying to contribute to the breed, so if you guys want to drop a comment, talk about how you got started, maybe some advice for other breeders, always feel free to do that. I did an interview with Jason and Rain from Bad Bully Cartel, and Jason made some good points in his interview, and one of them was just don't be afraid to ask questions, you know. Reach out to other breeders. I'm always calling my friends that are other breeders, picking their brain about different things about breeding. Just feel free to always reach out to other breeders. Like I said, I don't know everything, so I do have some breeding experience, but at the same time, I'm not afraid to ask. So just keep that in mind. Continue to watch. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. Follow us on social media, and thanks for watching.